The life of a man is a constant struggle, one he's destined to lose. That's not pessimism. That's how Arthur Schopenhauer saw it. But in that struggle, there's something raw, something noble, especially when it comes to women. She smiled at your scars, not because she wanted them healed, but because they proved you bled. For her, you were told women admire strength, but what they really admire is strength that suffers. For them. Schopenhauer didn't romanticize this. He saw through it. The fundamental fault in the character of women, he wrote, is that they have no sense of justice. Now, pause. That's not an insult. It's a key to understanding, because justice begins with gratitude for sacrifice. And yet to her, your sacrifice isn't something she owes you for. It's simply how things are supposed to be. You weren't tricked by her. You were tricked by your own illusion, that loving her purely, suffering for her openly, would earn your admiration. But to her, your suffering was never a weight. It was your gift, your offering, your currency. Schopenhauer once wrote, "Women exist in the main solely for the propagation of the species." And that's not condemnation, it's clarity. Propagation doesn't run on love. It runs on strength, on endurance, on pain. You suffer, you build, you strive. Not because it's fair, but because your survival has to be useful to something greater than you. This is why her approval, her loyalty, is never handed to the man who floats through life carefree. It's reserved for the man who bends under burden, but does not break, who carries pain like armor, who bleeds silently without begging to be seen. She doesn't seek victory. She seeks burden-bearing, not strength in peace, but strength in pressure. Schopenhauer, in his brutal clarity, said that nature gave women the art of dissimulation, the ability to mask their true intentions, not out of malice, but out of survival. So when she tests you through demands, silence, detachment, it's not cruelty, it's selection, it's evolution in motion. And only the man who endures earns her respect. Only the one who survives the fire deserves a place beside her. She becomes the mirror and the forge. You don't become a man in spite of her nature, but because of it. But here's where modern men fail. They were raised on illusions of equality, of fairness, of soft sentiment. And when they meet the raw, ancient instinct in her, they collapse. They expect to be admired for simplicity, for honesty, for vulnerability. But what they don't realize is this. To the primal part of her mind, vulnerability screams weakness, and weakness must be rejected. Schopenhauer wasn't warning us because he hated women. He was warning us because we misunderstand them. When she loves, it's full force. But at the bottom of that love, there's still survival, still self-interest. And that's not evil. That's nature. So when your kindness goes unnoticed, when your gentle sacrifices are met with silence, don't mistake it for hatred. It's not hate. It's instinct. A man who suffers and cries out, he's still bound. But a man who suffers and understands, he's free. Schopenhauer believed life is suffering. That human desire only ties us deeper into that suffering. And to expect that a woman who is shaped by nature itself would somehow rise above nature's rules, that is the real illusion. He said, woman is by nature meant to obey, not in dominance, but in function. Because between man and woman, there is a necessary tension. A dance? He builds, she selects. He endures, she chooses. He sacrifices, she decides if it's worthy. And if you're angry hearing that, it's not because it's false. It's because it shatters the fantasy you were sold. You weren't born to be loved for your sweetness. You were born to be tested. And yes, tested by her. But the man who passes, who endures her tests with patience, not bitterness, with calm, not complaint, that man rises. Not because she lets him, but because she can no longer deny what he is. Schopenhauer compared the female intellect to that of a child, not in value, but in scope. It's tuned to what's near, what's urgent, what's personal. And that's her power. That's her programming. She's not plotting against you. She's just tuned into something different. She doesn't admire ease. She admires endurance. The man who stands firm when everything around him falls, that's the man she trusts. And trust, not love, not attention, not lust. Trust is the currency of devotion. Modern men make the mistake of showing wounds, hoping they'll be kissed. But a woman's instincts don't respond to wounds. They respond to scars. Scars worn with pride, with control, with calm. You weren't called to hide your pain. You were called to master it. Even in myth, the heroes who win women's hearts aren't the ones who yield. They're the ones who suffer and return. Achilles, Odysseus, they bled, they wept, but they did not bend, because they knew that pain is not an injustice. It's a forge, and your suffering, if you let it, could shape you into something worthy. She doesn't desire your suffering to harm you. She desires to witness your transformation. She doesn't want you broken. She wants to see if you can rise. And when you finally see this, truly see it, you stop fearing her tests. You begin to understand them. You bless them because they sharpen you. Schopenhauer didn't call for war with women. He didn't tell you to withdraw. He told you to see, to understand, to prepare. To marry, he wrote, is to have one's rights and double one's duties. Not a warning, an instruction. You must not expect her to change. You must change your expectations. You must change yourself. If a woman finds power in your suffering, let it not be the suffering of a man crushed under his own illusions. Let it be the suffering of a man who wears the weight of life like a crown, without complaint, without collapse. When you accept this, when you stop begging for comfort and start forging character, you cross a threshold. You stop being a boy pleading for validation. You become a man who needs nothing, but offers everything. Your strength isn't about being untouched by pain. It's about holding that pain with calm hands. It's about standing still when the world shakes. And if in doing so you earn her respect, her admiration, her love, it's not because you asked for it. It's because you rose above needing it. Schopenhauer, for all his bleak views, didn't hate life. He saw its cruelty, but also its strange, stark beauty. He didn't hate women. He pitied the men who misunderstood them. The man who truly understands sees her not as an obstacle, not as an enemy, but as a force of nature. And like all forces of nature, she doesn't bend to your will. She shapes you, tests you, tempers you. She's the storm, and you're the ship. A weak ship, she'll wreck it. A strong one, she'll carry it into the great unknown. So what do? You build, you strengthen, you reinforce the hull of your soul. You stop demanding softness where nature demands steel. You stop expecting her to guide you, and instead, you become the guide. Not because she's beneath you, but because leadership is the role of the grounded man. Don't look to her as the judge of your worth. Look to her as the mirror of your readiness. If she challenges you, don't flinch. If she's indifferent, don't panic. If she tests you, don't collapse. It's not treachery, it's training. The fire she brings isn't meant to burn you. It's meant to forge you. The answer isn't withdrawal. It's not resentment. It's sovereignty. Build your life first. Carve a mission so deep into your being that even love cannot distract you from it. Be the man who walks a path that doesn't bend toward approval, but toward purpose. Then, and only then, can you meet women not as a beggar, not as a cynic, but as a man. A full man. One who gives without fear. One who can love without losing himself. Because in the end, the love that lasts isn't built on fantasy. It's built on fire. And only two warriors, scarred but standing, can walk through it together. You weren't born to be pitied. You weren't born to be mothered. You weren't born to be rescued. You were born to be revered. And reverence isn't gifted, it's earned. In silence, in sweat, in suffering. Schopenhauer didn't give us a soft truth. He gave us a hard one. But inside that hardness, there is liberation. Because once you stop blaming her for being what nature made her to be, you stop fighting the wrong war. You don't curse the rain. You build a roof. You don't beg the wind to stop. You strengthen your sails. You don't demand she changes her instincts. You refine your strength so that her instincts recognize you. So yes, stand tall, suffer well, rise beyond the game. And if these words hit something in you, if they stirred something deep, ancient, half-remembered, then don't let that fade. Like, share, subscribe, not just to support this channel, but to support yourself, to be part of a movement of men choosing truth over illusion, strength over softness, sovereignty over surrender. You'll find the link in the description. But more than that, find the will to walk this road, the Schopenhauer road, the road through suffering, not around it. It's not for the faint, but it is for the free. We'll see you there.